Today we'll be doing an oil change in this 2012 Nissan Titan with the 5.6 liter endurance engine. The first step after getting the truck up on some sort of lift or jack stands is to remove the skid plate. I call it a skid plate, but it's really just a cover that protects the oil filter, the transmission lines, and some of the steering components. The skid plate is held in place with four 10mm bolts, two in the front and two in the back, which I'm doing right now. After you remove the skid plate, that gives you easy access to the oil filter, which is right up front. The next thing to do is take a 14mm socket and remove the drain plug for the oil pan. And be careful here if you just had your vehicle running. This oil can be pretty hot. I let my vehicle cool down for about an hour before I did this. The oil is still warm enough to flow easily, but not too hot that it burns my hands. The next thing that I like to do, since this oil filter is in a nearly vertical position, is to pre-fill the filter as much as I can get it so that it doesn't result in a dry start. And the other thing you want to make sure is to put a little coat of oil on the gasket. Makes removal of the filter a little bit easier. Here you'll see me using a pair of pliers to remove the old filter. This oil filter is in a pretty convenient location where if it's on just a little too tight, you can use a pair of pliers to spin it off. And the engineers at Nissan must have worked on their own cars, because they put a little chute, as you can see, for the oil from the oil filter to flow out so that it doesn't drip all over the frame and other cross members. And after you've let the oil drain from there just a little bit, you can spin on the new filter. And no need to use a wrench here, just put it on hand tight. And I'd like to get these pretty tight, especially when it's in a location that I can get to easily, because I can just use a pair of pliers to take it off if it's still too tight. And definitely do not forget to put the drain plug back in. And the other thing that I like to do while I've got the skid plate off, since I live in the Rust Belt, I like to spray all the components that need a coating with this blaster surface shield that I've been using. It's worked really well for me, and any component that will be hidden under the skid plate that needs a coating of rust proofing, I just give it a quick shot here and before we put the skid plate back on. And now it's time to put the skid plate back on in the reverse order that you removed it. Now let's bring this Titan back down to earth and go topside to fill the oil. This truck takes approximately 7 quarts, maybe a little less than 7 quarts of 5W30 oil. I like to use a full synthetic oil, especially with the recommended oil change interval of 5,000 to 7,500 at the very most. Don't forget to put the cap back on, and we'll be ready to check the oil and see if we have enough in the crankcase. The oil looks good, and we'll replace the dipstick. And that's pretty much all there is to an oil change on a Nissan Titan. Keep that oil changed and it'll last a good long time for you. If you like this sort of content, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.